Hey, this is Lance Wallnau, and I want to give you part two of our broadcast. This is like the outrage of the week. There has been a intentional algorithmic bias in Facebook, Twitter, and Google against conservative viewpoints. While there's been this beefing up of coverage on all things anti-conservative. We never would have really got a public hearing on this, but Tucker Carlson's been talking about the guy that at Google was fired because he actually called out their challenge in their own practice of diversity and was fired for not being part of the groupthink at Google, which I think he's pursuing compensatory damages on. But other stories are abound. Dennis Prager, for instance, has been, this is like a Jewish conservative scholar whose YouTubes and whose videos are on on PragerU. You've got to get them. I mean, they are like a short course in a martial arts degree in common sense and Judeo-Christian values. He has been censored from YouTube, and he can't get his videos out. At the same time, the outrage of the week is that these guys here, Mr. Facebook, Mr. Twitter, Twitch, and Mr. Google over here, Stretch, Edgett, and Walker, are trying to make sense of the Democrats' fury, because the Democrats have been so close to Silicon Valley. Remember this, Silicon Valley was meeting weekly virtually with the Obama White House because they were all in cahoots. But what are the Democrats upset about? The Russia influence on the election. You better believe it. There's like a love affair gone bad now. And because the Democrats are mad because they're looking to see how Russia could influence the election. Notice, Hillary didn't lose the election. It's impossible for Hillary to lose the election. It couldn't be because the Electoral College actually broke in 5 states for Trump. It's because Russia did it. It's like so bizarre. So anyway, that gives a chance for Ted Cruz and various other conservatives to challenge them on bias and the weighted and the way in which they are not being fair and equitable in the distribution of search engine subject finding. So you're not going to find like Breitbart or Drudge popping up at the top of a news item, even if they really are. Well, here's the point. What little dent I could see Ted Cruz made was nothing. It was Patrick Leahy who really laid into him because he had all these ads he showed. And sure enough, I got a story for you. This is the story we should be looking at. See, I've been unsympathetic to the Russia collusion, drama going on in the press because I, like you, know that Donald Trump didn't win because he was working with the Russians. We do know, however, that Fusion GPS was paid X number of $1 million to hire a former rogue spy from the UK named Christopher Steele, done through the attorneys working for Hillary Clinton's campaign, and that dossier, which includes prostitutes reporting of urinating on a mattress for the satisfaction of Donald Trump, the most foul and absurd 32-page dossier without any collaboration with evidence, was used as a premise for opening up an investigation on Russia collusion, and was passed on to the president himself by Comey for review and then leaked to CNN, just like the Mueller investigation got leaked to CNN because CNN and Mueller and the Democrats are all working to try to take down Donald Trump. That's the story that we covered earlier. Now, here's the deal. You got Google, Facebook, and Twitter not there to talk about shutting down conservative and Christian viewpoints, not how come Milo can't get on Twitter, but all these jihadist organizations and Russian organizations and fronts can somehow be sowing mischief, but somehow if you've got a conservative worldview, you're singled out. You know, I'm telling you, man, it's because of the liberal ideological bias at the top of these mountains. The devil knows where Park Place and Boardwalk is on the Monopoly table. Christians don't. We're hanging out over there hoping for a get-out-of-jail-free rapture card. Anyway, I want you to catch this. More fake social media accounts were linked to the Russian government. Now, this is crazy. A Russia-linked account calling itself Blacktivist, stoked racial tension during the presidential campaign through Facebook and Twitter posts that didn't reveal its origins, but it would stir up grievances and race issues. It would go to white people under one site and stir up supremacists, and then go to black people on the other one, which is why it's called a Blacktivist site. And what they were doing was they were trying to stir up violence about racism, intolerance, and injustice. The site was disseminating incendiary video clips of supposed police brutality and urging its readers that black people have to wake up as soon as possible. This is from white Russians working for Putin in an office headquarters, in a boiler room, laughing up their sleeves. You know why? Because they had more success than Black Lives Matter had with their Facebook page. They got 360,000 likes. I've been on Facebook these many years, and I think I just hit 260,000. The Russians knew how to get 360,000 likes within a couple of weeks. It was even higher than, like I said, Black Lives Matter. Twitter ended up confessing to Congress they had 200 accounts that were separately operating with possible Russia link. Facebook had 470 Russia accounts. But it wasn't just like, black and white issues. They were actually organizing rallies. And they were literally coordinated 7 rallies or protest events through their site. This reminds me of one of those Star Trek episodes, like years ago, for those of you that are Trekkies. It's about this glob, this cloud, this energy that would feed off of creating strife between people. So consequently, Spock is having a Vulcan race issue with Kirk, who is a Homo sapien human from Earth, and then Chekhov is having a problem as a Russian with Scotty, who's Scottish, and if you're black, it's against the white. In other words, this energy would thrive whenever it was around discord. That's what a spirit of strife is. Gene Roddenberry, those writers picked up exactly on the spirit realm. And suddenly Kirk realizes this, and it's kind of an odd moment when he's with a Klingon or something, and they're going, ha, ha, ha. They're trying to find something to laugh about, and ha, ha, ha. And so it was a bizarre episode, but the energy gets frustrated because it can't manipulate them anymore. Well, here's the reality. Russia has a spirit over it. It's a principality. Some people say in the Bible it's Rosh, and that it literally is referred to that way. But let me tell you about what this does. Since the World War II, we have been in a propaganda battle of sorts. But America dials it down because when you're as good as we are at doing what we do, I mean, we make movies, and the world wants to see our film. We do sports. They want to be at they want our events. In other words, America has its own great propaganda. It's called winning. That's why Trump said, make America great again. When you win, democracy looks sexy. Putin can't handle that kind of democracy pressure, so he's got to exploit division in America so that America's democracy looks dysfunctional, and Russian news can show how there's riots and discontent and blacks and whites and there's no economic development, there's corruption. They are laughing up their sleeves because the Democrats are eating at the trough of Russian demons feeding them propaganda. Anyway, Russia, what Russia does is, and I got this from covert ops U.S. intelligence sources. What they do is they don't create divisions because they don't want to create them. They want to amplify any division that's on the ground. They want to exploit a division that's on the ground. So the Russian objective then is to disrupt U.S. international relations by undermining the appeal of American democracy and allowing Russia to look better by comparison. In other words, this is the reason why I'm concerned that there were 3,000 Russian-bought ads that Facebook has to now turn over to Congress that is exploiting social divides, economic divides, racial divides. And I'm about to go research their game playing with Occupy Wall Street. It's time Americans woke up that much of the traffic that was going on Google and Facebook and Twitter were blind to, sowing of division and discord and destruction in America, but they were singling out Dennis Prager because he's talking about Judeo-Christian values and making sure that his toxic content wasn't getting anywhere. Well, that's my outrage of the week. And I'm telling you right now that I've got my eyes open. I'm praying for Russia. I'm praying for Putin. I've got friends of mine that have access to the Kremlin and to Russia. And I want to be able to have a different opinion. But this Cold War strategy has been going on, and I'll tell you where it really hit. It was in the Ukraine, when we got involved with the Ukraine, and when we started, under Hillary Clinton's inspiration and Barack Obama's agreement, when we started planting and funding pro-democracy organizations in Moscow and Kiev, whose business it was to spread Sal Alinsky style, like the stinking Democrats do, discontent between Putin and his own people. When Putin got booed entering into an arena, most people miss this. It was before the last election cycle. When he heard boos in the arena rather than applause, he immediately opened up an office, filled it with 1,000 employees that became his Twitter army, and he began dismantling America. And we only woke up to it now because the Democrats were exploring Russia stealing the election because of complicity with the internet and Donald Trump. Well, they may have the wrong theory, but they got the right culprit. We're going to tell you more about that as the days go by. And we have an incredible resource for you. You know, you can't do these kinds of broadcasts or this kind of a ministry without encountering your own kind of warfare. And it gets to be kind of hectic sometimes. And so I developed a series called Breaking Controlling Spirits. And it's very relevant to what's happening right now because you have the 500th anniversary of the Reformation. Well, Martin Luther was breaking free from religious control that was in Europe, and the Reformation came out of that. We're needing to break free right now from what I would call leftist control of American culture. It's a very real battle, and most Christians who are indispensable to it aren't even aware it's going on because we've just been kind of absorbing culture rather than influencing it. So Breaking Controlling Spirits is a special series designed to help build you up on the inside, to break the disruptive powers of darkness that get into your mind, get into your marriage, get into your children, get into your business, which eventually gets into your finances and into your communities. This is about how to operate big in the realm of the strength of the Spirit so that you can discern and snap and break every assault that comes against you or the assignment that God gave you. Breaking Controlling Spirits is the most relevant and important product that I could recommend right now in this season of warfare on planet Earth. And I look forward to seeing you again with the outrage of the week in our next broadcast.